Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes.
And here it is, 2023.
Woo, yeah,
New
Lord.
year, new you.
Lord,
Here's to new beginnings.
Here's
new beginnings.
New beginnings.
We're so happy to be here. I'm Kelly Schenfeld.
I'm Shelby Stokes.
Polly Schenfeld here. Welcome, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We're back.
We're
It's
back.
2023.
Yeah.
And we've had a little bit of a respite, a little bit of time with friends, family, and
Yeah.
the holidays. And it was good.
I think we're going to change our podcast up a little bit. We kind of talked about it, and we're gonna kind of go with more of a planning towards a gala. You know, here we are, the beginning of the year, and so maybe we can get a little more information to you guys in the beginning of the year so that you don't feel stressed out 3 months from now.
Exactly. And coming after the holiday, everyone feels like they're just getting back into the swing of things. And it feels like everyone is starting their engines back up and starting to get their feet back under them. So what today's episode is going to be about is just like kind of 101. Like these are the first couple of things you should be thinking about or planning. And hopefully you can start your new year off right with us.
Yes. As always, keep stress on the low because it will catch up on you before you know it, and it's not worth it. So do what you can, have small successes, tackle the big stuff, push through it, but have the little itty bitty small victories and feel good about it, and go home at night and be with your family and know that it's all going to be there tomorrow. So if you don't have a family, maybe think about getting one. I don't know. There's a thought.
So basically, this approach today will be like as if we're 10 to 12 months out.
Yeah.
Sure.
I
The
think that's a good
very,
idea.
very foundational
Week 1.
part of planning,
Yeah.
week 1. Very first thing you should do is select an auction chairperson. Who is going to be the chair of the event?
And know what that responsibility of that chair is when you go to pick your chair. So it's not just having somebody that's, popular in the community. It's somebody that can bring money to your organization, bring the people that'll spend money at your organization. It might be somebody that knows somebody in catering. It might be somebody that knows somebody in the hotel business. It might be somebody that is great at getting items. So be cautious and be very mindful when you pick that chair.
This person is going to be the leader of all your committees.
Yep.
They're going to be the contact person with the hired auction company. Hopefully that is Stokes Auction Group.
Stokes Auction Group. Who? Stokes Auction Group. A group of incredible individuals that get together for galas to raise money for good organizations.
So what would make a good auction chairperson? Some sort of personal characteristics.
That's where I would start, for sure. Like, even before you go to that first meeting, my advice would be to come up with a person or even like a made-up person with the characteristics that you would want to see in executing a gala, and then build outward. Like, who could fulfill these tasks and has these qualities or some sort of qualities that adhere to your wish list, and then go from there. As we're kind of getting back into what this year looks like and coming off of holiday or even starting to plan a gala, you got to start at the beginning. And in doing so, like mapping out what you want that individual to look like or do, or the attributes you want them to have, is a good place to start off. Maybe there's someone on your committee that you're not considering right now that fits that character makeup, and that's the person to start talking to.
And I would actually go one step further even and say, I think there's a lot of success with co-chairs, because sometimes a single chair can feel it all gets heavy when it gets closer to it.
Point.
And if you have a co-chair and it's two people that work well together, they can bounce ideas off each other instead of it being one person's focus or one person's idea. I think co-chairs are the way to go. Obviously, if in your community it doesn't work, but I don't know what I'd do without these two knuckleheads to bounce stuff off of. So I think having actually 3 would be a great idea, because 2 could vote against 1, 2 against 1.
Like
Never vote me out. But it's so my idea there is just so that you have somebody to walk it with, because when it gets heavy, at least you can go out and cry together.
And I think that is a very good consideration. You know, right before we went on break, there was a client that I helped, and one of them was much more like the director or the delegator of the group. And I would always go to that individual to get marching orders in terms of what we were trying to accomplish that night. Well, the other co-chair was more of decorations and more that type of person. And they worked very well together. So if you can find
great.
2 people that can come together and work together well, consider it.
Yeah, or even a
Absolutely.
chair in each department. You'll have one co-chair that is going to handle the decorations. That's their sole job. One is going to do procurement. One is going to do live auction procuring. One will do silent auction procuring. I mean, there's really no limit on how many co-chairs you can have. It almost might be the more the merrier, right?
Yeah,
It's
as
just
long as you have
delegation.
as long as you have one individual. I do believe that even with co-chairs, I believe that there's always got to be one. Gosh, I don't want to step on it here. One power,
One head lead chair.
one lead chair that can make
Dominating
those hard,
personality.
yes,
Yeah.
and can make those hard decisions and be okay with the heat that he or she or they receive. You know, that's important because a good chair might receive some heat, but if they're doing what's best for the organization, that's okay if they can maneuver through the heat, and you as the person that is getting that chair can sit down with them and explain to them that you understand where they're coming from and all that. But I do think you need one power person. Would you agree with that?
I would totally agree,
Yeah,
and I
one-
can even
one power
I even
person.
have an example of an
Okay.
event that I did recently where there wasn't one individual in charge,
Gotcha.
and it made it very very difficult. I think you had some experience with that too.
I have, yeah.
Here's a question I have: who do I go to? And I got 2 or 3 different answers.
Mhm.
So there has to be the main chair who is in charge of all of them.
Yeah.
That would be the most reasonable hierarchy in my view.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. So, I mean, at this stage, you know, you're trying to figure out who that auction chair is. You're trying to get them to a place where you need them to be in terms of character build, and also supplementing any character flaws or character weaknesses. Probably a better way to do that. So that's where the co-chair comes in. Item procurement.
Right.
Also a big one.
That's what I was going to say. That's the
Yeah.
biggest part, in my opinion, of a chair is that that's the person that knows who to invite
Yeah.
to the room.
Mhm.
That'll be big spenders, because that's really important. We got to remember why we're having these galas. Yes, they're fun. Yes, they're beautiful, but we're doing it to raise money. You know, sponsorships. So all of those things, you want a person that has the ability to hear no and still ask, and hopefully hear yes when it comes to asking for money. I would be a great chair because I don't care about hearing no. I'd be like, I need $10,000, Billy. And he'd say, I don't got it. And I'd say, okay, I'll call you tomorrow and let you know who to write the check
Yeah.
to.
And in terms of item procurement specifically, you know, we're talking about the characteristics of an individual, but this is also the time that you're going to want to build out that list of items that you'd like to see or present at your live auction. And then when you go out and ask for monetary gifts, if somebody says, no, we don't have the financial wherewithal to do that right now, well, do you have A, B, or C in terms of that item list that you're looking for? And then that way you can kind of build your items for your live auction while you are asking or soliciting donations for the gala or for the underwriting.
Yeah, and start your list now of the thank yous. You know, day one, as you're talking about your chairs and you're talking about procurement, start that list of thank yous, because more often than not, when we get closer to gala time or after gala, there's always somebody we forget. So start it now. Just put it in your computer as thank yous, and then just anytime you think of somebody, write it in there. We need to thank this person for this. We need to thank this person for this. We need to thank this. Thank yous go a million miles. I got a Christmas card. Mark and I got a Christmas card this year from an organization that we donated to, and it was a huge move. So start a Christmas card list too.
Hey, there you go. Get them both done at once.
Man.
All right, so if your auction's a year out, now's also a good time to select a venue,
Yep.
if you haven't done so already, a date, and now would also be a really good time to start talking about themes.
Yeah.
And maybe venue before theme, to be honest with you. Like once you have your venue locked in, I think then you start talking about potential themes, or even if you have bids in for a venue, right? I mean,
Right.
if you're outside, that changes the entire vibe of
Mhm.
the event.
It
Right.
does.
there's some really cool places. You know, we were at a brewery recently that was outdoor and it was sunny, and I was like, this would be a perfect place to do a very fun fundraising event. So
You could use a theme, it's raining money, and buy everybody those little umbrella hats. That just popped into my mind. That's pretty good.
the poncho gala.
The poncho gala.
Oh my goodness.
It's happening, isn't it?
It's happening.
It's starting to
It's
spill out
happening.
again.
Yay!
Already. It's already happening.
It's happening. The brainstorming
It's
has begun.
spilling out. Also a good time to nail down a budget.
Yep, definitely.
Set your ticket prices.
Top 4. So team, right? We kind of talked about that.
Team.
Leadership.
Team, which would be leadership, stuff of that nature. Procurement. We started talking about, you know, who's going to procure and what that wish list is. So direction of product is what we'll call that. Sure,
Is
why not?
team co-chairs and chairs?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
I would
That's
say
a big one.
It's a big one. That's
a big
the one.
like having like a general schedule, I think is pretty good early. And by that I mean, what day are you going to meet with your committee? What day are you going to dedicate to an ongoing fundraising effort?
Yeah.
Right? I know that Thursday from 6 to 7, I'm going to be working on fundraising. Right? Put that in stone so at least you're carving out the time now. You know, you could take scheduling one step forward to say, okay, we're going to meet every other month as a auction committee,
That's a
whatever
good
the case may be. But I mean, having the baseline schedule of where your time is going to be allocated to a project, I think is pretty essential.
I think it's very awesome.
Yeah. So that's 3.
4, I would.
Financial goals.
Yeah, which kind
Yeah.
of spurs into procurement almost, though, a
And
little
budget,
bit.
yeah.
And budget,
Budget
they're all
is-
kind of
yeah.
one thing. So budget, put budget on there. Financial goals, budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you worry about procurement later because you
And-
got to know what you got to get to.
Yeah, and you know, like budget is almost assumed. I guess if
Yeah.
we're really starting from like first steps, it is budget. Like it is budget. You know, some nonprofits that are just like, we're gonna go make the world a better place. They have no budget in the beginning, and if you're in that scenario, it's a blessing and a curse because the sky's the limit, but at the
Yep.
same time, you have no expectations of yield in your efforts. So, I think that establishing a budget early is good.
A budget for the gala. How much the gala is going to cost, not how much you want to raise. Yes? What? Are they all the same thing? What's
Yes.
happening right now?
Yes.
Yes.
I would say they are.
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
Because you know that
Definitely.
if you're going to raise
X amount of dollars.
let's say $20, you're going to spend 10.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of have to have that number of what you're going to yield. Otherwise, you know, you spend too much in an event, bad things can happen.
And
So-
also piggyback on that is, depending on what your budget and your goals are, will determine what your ticket prices are
True.
and how many people you need to be in the room, right?
And if this is week 1 and you're starting and it's brand new and it's a committee and you're working on doing the budgets and you're doing all that, buy like 4 or 5 planners. I know everybody uses their phones, okay? But just let me tell you, those are very cool, and you could write in there every Thursday.
You mean the actual
like my planner that I get so much crap for.
spiral planner that you have.
is showing.
I know my age is showing, but I'm okay with being
Your
50.
age is showing.
50
Also,
years old.
and I ain't changing.
I change
I
it.
ain't changing. They also have Google shared calendars. You can set up a shared calendar for your
They're
community.
not as fun as a papered one. You can
Oh,
doodle on the
yeah.
papered one. Why
Right.
not? Let's step out of our comfort zone, kidlets.
You cannot doodle on a Google Doc.
cannot doodle on a Google.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. You can't doodle a Google.
You can't doodle a Google,
You can't Google a Google.
but
either.
you can doodle.
Ooh,
A paper
that was
planner.
good. That rolled right out.
You can do what?
You could doodle on a paper planner, but not a doodle on a Google.
But you can't Google on a paper planner.
You can't Google on a paper planner, but you can doodle.
So you can doodle. You can doodle.
You can
without
doodle on a Google after you print it out. But then you're going to go through paper. And so why even worry about doodling on the Google if you can doodle on the planner?
Okay,
God
so
darn.
let's summarize.
Did you catch any of that? So to
I need
summarize,
to go to the bathroom before I
Doodle
deal
on the
with all
Google.
this Google talk.
after you print it out and get your venue, your budget, your chairs,
Your co-chairs, your auction
Team.
chairperson,
Team, budget, schedule.
venue, date, fee.
venue, date. We're being very helpful.
We're being very helpful. These are all things to consider. And you know what? We're going to start to walk you through this. I think the plan here is to kind of give you a timestamp on what you should be considering X amount of weeks out. This is coming off of vacation and saying, okay, I'm going to do something. These are the first steps to take. Is there probably too much for you to go through here? Yeah, but these general ideas that we're alluding to or dancing around is really what you need to keep in focus. And by keeping focused on these general, bigger ideas in the beginning, it's going to allow you to succeed down the road.
So the name of this podcast is Don't Doodle on the Google.
Don't doodle the Google.
That was really good, you guys.
I
Yeah.
don't know
That was
if
a
you
good little
can,
riff.
I don't know if you can
We
Google
probably,
a doodle.
I don't think we could.
Can
Probably
you Google a doodle? What happens when I put doodle in Google?
I'll find out later.
So, what do we want to talk about next week?
Well, now we're on a government watch list, so we better figure it
On a
out.
government
All right.
watch list.
Let's stick with one thing.
Okay, one
Okay.
thing. Well, next week we're going to talk about what's moving forward. What is so here we talked about the 4 things that you need to kind of consider getting locked up, your budget and things like that. Then I think next week we should talk about planning committees, because that's kind of what comes next, is because then you can launch those people out into the world and get them going. So I think if we keep on this path and try to help you get to your gala, we're going to still be having our monthly Q&As. And what that will allow is during these times that we're going to give you those snippets about week 2, this is what you need to be doing. That's a great time to, get us some questions. We can help you work through those and know that we are all in it together. But seriously, this year I'm going to be the one that pounds us, because Call Stokes Auction Group, we love doing this, and we love every single organization, the hard ones, the easy ones, the lucrative ones, the ones that are struggling. We love them all. They're all very important to all of us. And, we talk about it at lunch. And I'm sitting amongst 2 dudes that love it as much as I do. Maybe more. I doubt it. But, I'm a pretty big... I'm
At least as much.
You have
at least as much.
Oh, yeah.
at least as much. Yeah, at least. Yeah. So we're excited. 2023 is going to be a good year. And
It is.
we're excited you're along the journey with us.
Yeah.
We're watching the world. We said that we would not talk about
Don't say it! We promised we're not going to say that word in 23. Don't do it. Don't do it!
the pandemic is behind us. And we
He
are
said
moving
it.
forward to new beginnings and a new horizon. And the events industry is bustling. It's thriving. And we're excited to see all the good work that's going to be done in the world.
Don't worry, I'm going to call his mother and have her spank him later for saying that.
Oh boy, I'm gonna be in trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being with us. Thank you for checking us out, either on the audio version or on the video version, wherever you're watching us. You can follow us on Facebook and other places. You guys are great. Thanks for being
Yeah,
here.
it's good
Hey,
to
you
be
guys.
back. Good to be back.
Thank you. Great to see you all. Go out, be creative, and be bold.
Be courageous.
And go do good.
Let's raise some money.
See you later.
Woo!
See ya.
Bye.